Hey guys, Hailey Lain, aka Key Black here with another episode of Off the Cuff, and once again with Jess and Monpian here with me, kind of following up on the Rise of Balxiros topic from the last episode. And Jess, Miss DM, would you like to pick up?
Yeah. Basically, in the previous episode, I was talking a lot about how it came to be, how it was planned, how it was executed. But there's a lot of story elements that I like to get into, because the whole point of doing the Rise of Balxiros was I wasn't getting what I wanted out of other D&D stories, out of other, just role play events. So I wanted to do my own. And with the Rise of Balxiros, for those of you guys who know about it, it's got MacGuffins. And for those of you who also know D&D, it's basically, the hand of Vecna and the eye of Vecna, but, adjusted a little bit, because you've got the world, and oh no, the world's becoming bad because bad people are doing bad things with these MacGuffins. And, leaping off of that was very easy, because we started off extremely episodic. And I had very simple characters, because I really wanted my players to be the ones to develop. And then once they developed, then I knew I could start doing some better things with the characters. So two of the main characters in the Rise of Balxiros are Vin Les Fairchild and Varys Toll. Vin and Varys, Jesse and James, the male-female duo, bad guy duo.
Best characters.
And, they were a lot of fun to do, because with Vin, I had a very clear picture of what I wanted. A no-nonsense, very serious assassin who was very good at, manipulating. She knew exactly what she wanted, she knew exactly how to get it, she knew the different pawn pieces she needed to put in place, and at no point would she ever be caught off guard. Now, opposite her, I had Varys Toll, who is basically this very competent and brilliant spellcaster, a mage in his own right, but who had his daddy issues. He's like, I hate my dad, he's such a bad person, I'm going to go out and make the world a better place, and that drove him right into the arms of the cult.
As a very pretty lady.
As one does, and yes, of course, that person who he got with was Vin Les Fairchild, who is a beautiful woman, even though she's a proper assassin, so she keeps her head shaved so nothing can get in the way. She can disguise herself very easily. She can slip in and out of crowds with ease, pull up the hood if she needs to. But all Varys sees is this woman who, she understands me. You don't understand. She's the only one who truly gets where I'm coming from. And it was a lot of fun to play these characters against my players, who, were most of the time seeing them just as a couple of bad guys. But as we moved from the first set of players to the second set of players who picked up the threads that I was putting down, when I would put forward, here's a character archetype, what are you going to do? Well, now Finn knows to insult him in this way. And of course, we didn't have our new guys back when Vin was a bigger player, but it was just a lot more fun, because now I got to participate a little bit with the team, and steer as needed. If everyone was kind of sitting around like, well, what do we do next? It's like Varys would be like, well, I believe the village of, the dead city is that way, or something like that.
Yep.
But yeah, it became a lot bigger than it started out as, which was a lovely thing to see, especially in that as people started really getting into the story, I felt the need to do an even better job. I felt like, I'm so happy that these guys are enjoying it. I bet they'd enjoy this even more. And twist this and do that, this branching path, that branching path. There were a couple of moments also where I liked to leave it as open as possible, where yes, there were paths, but sometimes I genuinely had no idea what people were going to do. I think one of the moments with that was, what was Varys going to do when he met Vin again?
Yes.
And even though they're both NPCs, they're both the characters that I am in control of, I went into that specific situation going, I'm gonna read what everyone else is doing, what the vibe is, what the party is expecting, and then based on that, we'll see how it flows. And that was also a very good example of the rookie of the party making a very bad decision.
Very bad decision.
That
I could defend it by saying, we all had our harebrained ideas. This one takes the cake. It was, we were hiding in this, I'll try to see if I can remember how to set the scene properly. We were hiding in this very, very large temple, very dark. We had picked perfect hiding spots, like 50 feet up from the ground or something on top of these pillars. We knew the bad guys were going to be coming in. We knew roughly what they were after. We were hidden. They had no idea we were here. I had Berkeley tell his pet Noel at this point, Spot, to growl because previously the giant statue in this temple, a different version of it, had come to life. And the people who would be coming in would be familiar with that happening. So his idea was, let's scare him out.
And
it didn't work.
as the DM, I'm not gonna sit there and go, that's a terrible idea. You want them to do the ritual so you can get the thing out of the mouth of the statue. Instead, I went, that seems like a great idea. Why don't you roll intelligence? And then it was like a 2, and I'm like, yeah, you think that's a great idea.
Yep, yeah, it was, you had also been like, is anybody gonna stop him?
Yeah, I'm not gonna be a total, unfair person here. I'm gonna remind everyone, like,
you can do something.
If you guys also have similar ideas at this point, does anyone else do anything? But all the veteran players were like, I think we're screwed. Go for it.
We can't see. It's dark. We don't know what he's doing.
And but yeah, that was a fun instance because it actually enabled a narrative moment where, I mean, everyone's seen a movie where you've got the cavalcade, the rough and tumble ragtag team put together to save the world, and you've always got the youngest or the least experienced one who does something to really screw up, and that enables someone else in the party to have to do a heroic sacrifice or make a very risky move, and that actually upped the tension of the entire scene incredibly, which was a lot of fun. But it's that kind of thing that in other campaigns that I had played, the DM never took advantage of. The DM would be too busy annoyed that things weren't going exactly the way they wanted, or worse, they wouldn't even see the opportunity, and they just wouldn't do anything. So this was the kind of stuff that I really looked forward to every week. And as much as we talked about before, yes, I had branching paths and all that, it was a lot of fun to play with people that made decisions that maybe I hadn't precisely, considered, but that I knew exactly what to jump off of and then roll with to make it truly interesting.
Yeah, and you ended up making like individual character arcs for all the player characters as well. It wasn't just, okay, you're the ragtag heroes who are going to save the world. It was like, and here is what these characters are going to be going through. Okay, this player plays like that player does that. This is where people are projecting on their characters and what kinds of things. And Monpian, you were making the point about how it kind of helped people individually.
Yes, I think, that, as I said before, Jess was very good at reading people and reading about what they wanted to get from the story personally. And I think, the reason everybody showed up every week for how long?
Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years is because clearly from each session they were getting something personally meaningful from it, and they weren't just, role-playing a character that they didn't relate to or experiencing things that they didn't have any idea about. It was that they were emotionally invested in what was happening, and I think a lot of that is to do with Jess being able to leap off of people's random decisions, because no decision is actually random if you sort of know the person.
Yep, absolutely. And the characters themselves, I say this a couple of times in the past, and I don't want it to be misunderstood. I don't want to say that I made characters for people. What I did when I was bringing new people into the campaign is I would talk to them. I would ask, what character do you want to play? Here's some different positions that could be filled. Like we don't have a tank, we don't have a fighter, we don't have a spellcaster. What are you thinking of? And with each new person that came into the campaign, I would kind of interview them a little bit first. So with my friend Luke, I played D&D with him. He's great. He's a lot of fun to play with. He wanted to bring in originally a construct, basically the equivalent of a fantasy robot. And I was like, I cannot think of any way that that's going to mesh with the greater ideas that I have and I'd like to play out. But we could take that, put a twist on it, and I told him that instead of a construct, here his character is going to be a possessed suit of armor. And I know a lot of you guys are immediately thinking Full Metal Alchemist, and I can assure you I never even saw that anime. And then I went, wow, I guess it is like that. But that just goes to show that's an archetype. It's something that inherently people get and they like. So Luke was happy to play along with that. He's like, yeah, sure thing, awesome. So that became Valir, and instead of the construct, he was a former assassin and kind of tailor for one of the ancient families, that existed hundreds of years ago. And something had happened to him with the original, the bad guy Balxiros, where he was tailing him right up until the moment that the dead city was destroyed. The dead city. I think it was Ruthen. Yeah, the city of Ruthen was destroyed. So I got to use his character and tie it into the greater world that I already had in my head. And Luke did a fantastic job taking what he originally wanted to do was be like a terminate John Connor, and he built this fantastic character who was made for killing mages, which came in handy, boy, let me tell you.
It was so cool to see that play out. And I don't want to give too many spoilers about where we're cutting off.
The big fight between Nicholas Arcus and the party ended up being fantastic. It was literally the T-1000 just tracking down John Connor, not letting him get away. And then, of course, another player that came in was a friend of John's named Nathan. Nate, and he's a literal brain surgeon. And I had played D&D with him before, and I really liked the way he role-played. He had been role-playing a half-orc paladin, and I was playing my human paladin Bellum and Vaughn, and we became the Palor Bros, and I was like, yeah, I'd love to have him in the campaign too. And he originally had an idea as kind of like this Fae Avenger, like almost like a Fae Batman, like this bad thing happened to my family, and he is always hunting down, like, I can't remember, it was like demons or Daedra, if we want to go Skyrim, but it was kind of that feel. And again, I was like, that's not quite gonna fit with the greater images that I've got, in my head for what's going on. So I worked with him a lot, and we adjusted his character into still an elf, still a magic user, but not your typical magic user, not I cast spells from book. He tied in his familiar, who he had named Hedravalis, and I was like, all right, your familiar, that's a wind and water elemental, and that, he had constructed the character around that as his source of power, and I integrated that with a few things in my world, of tied to the gods, because there's Kal, which is good and light, and then there's Levith, which is the evil and darkness, and then there's Huril, which is nature. Nature is not good or evil, nature is just nature. So he was tied very strongly with that neutral nature element of my story. And he's a great role player. He took to that like a duck to water and ended up really liking, his character and really getting attached to Hedy as well, as we all called Hedravalis. And the last person who came in after Hailey, of course, was my buddy John, brought in Finn Arcus. And when I say I wanted John to come in, because I brought him in originally to kind of like help the team, this is why. I didn't need to do anything with John's character. He basically went, yeah, my character is an old soldier who basically had the family blade and took it and didn't want to be, you know, a mercenary for hire, or rather a soldier in an official capacity anymore. He turned into a mercenary for hire. And I'm like, Excalibur, eh? Alright. Gallery from Slayers, eh? You know, but not quite as stupid, you know, just like more wise rather than like the blonde bimbo that Gowry was.
Himbo.
Yeah, the himbo, yes. And so, with all that, it was fantastic because we had Hailey, who really...
The rookie!
She really was a rookie. I think I did the most work with her character, because at one point we looked back and went, hey, Hailey, could you read me again what your description of Berkeley
oh my god,
was?
it changed so much. I don't have it on hand, but it was basically... former cut purse and thief who stole an emblem of Call off of a guard and wanted to give it back because he felt so bad after feeling like it judged him for so long.
And then that was what Hailey started with, and then by the end of the story, I was like, this guy is a murderer and a thief. He did things, you know, just literally like come across someone who's broken their leg on the side of the road and calling for help, and he just takes his purse, breaks the other leg, and keeps walking. Kind of that kind of personality. And it, you know, of course, we mix all these characters together because now we've got a nice rounded set of personalities to craft narratives with, and it was just fantastic because I barely needed to nudge, and Nathan would take off, and then Luke would make a hilarious comment, and John would, you know, bring it all together, and then Hailey would make the rookie quip that then restarted the whole cycle all over again, and it was a blast for 4 hours a week, and that's what I missed. That's what I was really looking for, and I tell this to the guys all the time. I want to do another campaign, but I cannot do it right now because that was a lot of time. And I don't want to do a disservice to these fantastic people, my friends, my role-playing team. The last thing I want to do is half-ass something. You know, like that's the ultimate disrespect, in my opinion, is a DM who just comes in, reads off of a book, and has no, you know, real input into other things that people are putting their effort into. I want to reward people when they put effort into the creativity, and vice versa. It's nice to have people that appreciate what I put into the story.
And frankly, honestly, as one of the players, I'm still not really done with Rise of Balxiros. Like, there's a reason I want to go back and re-edit the audio. It's not just that was fun, it was that I'm still really attached to the story and to the characters in that story. Like, I am really sad that the early chapters are not available right now. I am sad that, like, you know, the only way that can exist right now is through art and through, you know, recounting what basically happened. And I'm like, not done! I want to do more! Still more! Please! Give me stuff to draw. I mean, hell, we even redesigned Berkeley this last year.
Oh, that was a great,
that
like,
was, okay.
Monpian, you...
May I frame this
okay,
as...
frame it.
So, the Berkeley that I had drawn, I mentioned previously that originally the guy I kind of drew was gonna be this, you know, big, hefty guy, kind of guy. Not what I ended up with. I ended up with basically making an anime face bishy.
Tumblr sexy man.
Oh my god, help me. He had, like, the scars in the perfect place on his face and everything. That was what I drew for about 2.5 years, and then started doing some more art with more of a purpose behind it. You know, this time
I sort of pointed this out because I was looking at Hailey's art, and I'm like, this is some of the best art you've ever done. But what is with this guy's face?
Yes.
Like, everybody looked great.
Oh, and then my fucking anime guy.
And
oh my god.
Oh, you got pissed when I brought
I
that
got
up too.
so mad at you guys because the thing is, like, I was still putting in a lot of heart into the art that I was still making for Rise of Balxiros, and it was like there was a reason for it, you know. But as soon as you guys said anime face, like, you gotta redesign.
You've got Finn Arcus, really grizzled veteran, you know, crooked
drawing.
Nose,
what
big
the hell
beard.
is this?
And then you've got Varys, sharp face, sharp features, killer. You've got Vin, sexy, assassin, and then you've got Naruto.
He does look like Naruto.
Yeah.
Oh god. So I took offense a lot. It took about 2 months of me being a little bitch about that, I think. And then eventually started looking at it again and going like, alright, yeah, Monpian, you have a point.
And that's when, you know, it was like a huge joke between me and Jess, and then we were just like, you know, sending pictures of real men
Yes.
to Hailey. This is what men actually look like. They don't look like, you know,
Naruto.
2D cardboard cutout
With an
face.
inner nose. What the hell?
I was really married to that. I hadn't even drawn him like that the entire time, but it got worse the more I kept drawing the same face.
And that was pretty funny because we were just, you know, sending like hot guys, grizzled guys, Irish guys, you know, all the archetypes that would fit this kind of character. And eventually, we started kicking back some drawings and we're like, yes, he has a nose now.
Yeah, amazing.
This is incredible. Look, he
longer-
looks like someone you could hire as an actor, you know. And I think you ended up with some pretty good.
I still haven't like landed completely on the design. Right now, he looks more like the kind of guy I think you described. This guy could have walked out of a pub with a broken nose 2 minutes ago.
Yes.
So he's got much closer set eyes. He got this rat-like, you know, long face with this very kind of. He's got a broken nose, you know. The scars are no longer in just like an attractive position on his face. It's like, oh, you got slashed. Okay.
The reason, by the way, guys, that we're talking about all this focus on the visual for what is essentially a radio drama is, Hailey and I have plans to do something with the visual with Rise of Balxiros. However, we can't quite do it this moment. We've got some other things going on, but that is absolutely one of the reasons that I have not started another campaign yet, because I know that if I would like to do the things that I'd really like to accomplish with this story, it's gonna take a little time. And so yeah, we've got some fun stuff on the horizon for that. And of course, like I said at the beginning of this, the narrative is the most important thing.
Yes.
And there's gonna be some fun stuff with this narrative.
I am excited.
Got to go back.
Gotta get back.
Gotta get back to the past to save Volstead.
I love that. I can't believe you guys saved him. That was amazing.
Literally, like, I didn't know that he was supposed to die.
It wasn't that he was supposed to. It was more like, I don't think he's gonna survive. I don't see any way that they could save him.
I'm gonna try to pick the lock. Roll.
It's like
Natural
nat 20. Okay, you pick the lock. The arrow is in his throat. I healed. Okay, he's healed. And then I shut. So and so goes to the door to make sure there's not another one. It's like, oh, you see him out there. It's like, I shut the door. Okay, second arrow's not coming through. I guess he's alive. I guess. But he ended up being a lot of fun because then I got to have basically a Bill Pete Merlin as a recurring character. And then I got to introduce Mad Madam Mim later.
Mad Madam Mim and then Dumbledore Merlin. Oh, God.
But yeah, so yeah, that's just I don't want to like go spoiler city here with how it ends and all that, because honestly, that's something that if you guys are interested in all what we've been talking about here, I highly encourage you to go listen to it yourself and check out Hailey's fantastic art, and hopefully you'll be seeing a lot more of that in the future.
Jess has drawn some stuff too. So
it's
on your website.
I do a little bit of drawing here and there. I do some character stuff, and you can go check the Rise of Balxiros section of KaleiWorks.net as well.
Definitely do. That's KaleiWorks.net is where you'll be able to find the full audio drama, and KeyBlack.net is where you'll be able to find my artwork of it as well.
Yeah, you can see how I created Kinnear's character design by combining Foghorn, Leghorn, Ganondorf, and the Kurgan from Highlander, with a little bit of Gav from Slayers, because no one will ever get those references, and the only person who does will be like, surely she couldn't have just done that.
I'll say, you gotta draw the sword of time, Link. You gotta give me the Triforce.
You're going about it all wrong, boy.
Gonna wake up the whole kingdom with that. Oh my God.
I did love that one person who was like, I never heard you do a Balxiros voice, and this was the first one I heard, and I was expecting, the Temple of Hurl. That takes me back. And someone's slaying the Avatar. That takes me back. And instead, I got, well, if it isn't my dear old friends. And I'm like, what the heck is that? It's like, look, when I say I combine Foghorn Leghorn, I'm not joking. He's a very friendly guy. You don't get to be a mastermind villain who's in control of an entire cult without being very charismatic.
God, this is the funniest villain.
But yeah,
oh my God.
that was good.
Should probably cut it off there before we start going like further into like all the individual characters because we could.
And my voice is I haven't done these voices in over a year, so it's definitely I could feel right now. It's like, whoa, I haven't done that one in a while.
Oh God. Well, guys, thank you so much for listening and for watching. As usual, please leave your comments in the comments section, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you again. Bye!